Well, in a recent interview, President Raisi's chief of staff seems to cast some doubt on the official story of what happened in the helicopter's final moments, what happened that caused the crash. So he sat down with the Iran News Network and did an interview. He was the chief of staff of President Raisi. He was in the convoy. There were three helicopters that were traveling together. He was in the chopper behind the one that went down, and he describes in this interview what led up to the moments before the crash. And it's a bit suspicious. Even he seems to be a bit suspicious about it. The interview is in Farsi, so we're not going to play the interview for you, but I'm just going to read from the Cradle. Actually did a great translation of the interview, and I'm just going to read from their translation. Again, he was traveling in a 3-helicopter convoy. He was one of the 2 choppers that reached their destination safely. So here's what Ismaili says. He says, after our noon prayers, we departed toward the direction of Tabriz. The weather was clear. There was no weather condition to be worried about. After half an hour of being in the air prior to reaching the Sungan copper mine, there was a small patch of clouds. The interviewer says, so there was no fog? And Ismaili says, no, not at all. There was fog on the ground, but not up in the air where we were advancing with the helicopters. However, in one small compacted area, there was a small patch of clouds above a cliff. In terms of height, this cloud was the same height as our flight's height. It was there that the now martyred helicopter pilot, who was also the commander of the fleet, told the rest of the pilots to ascend above the clouds. We were third behind the president's helicopter. We rose above the clouds and advanced for approximately 30 seconds. Our pilot suddenly realized that the main helicopter carrying the president was missing. Interviewer, you didn't see the helicopter anymore after ascending? Ismaili says, yes, exactly. After ascending above the clouds, we didn't see the main helicopter. The ascension itself didn't feel difficult or hard. Sometimes when we use the plane, we feel turbulence, but we didn't feel anything at all inside the helicopter this time when ascending. After we ascended, there were no other clouds. Interviewer, so beyond this, there were no weather forecasts mentioning any disturbances in the weather to make it unsafe? Ismaili, no, there wasn't any. Shortly after, we were able to see beneath us, and there were no clouds anymore, and we had reached the area of the copper mine. We realized, however, that our pilot was making a U-turn suddenly, so I asked him why. He said that one of our helicopters was missing. We estimate that they made an emergency landing because we also have no radio contact with it anymore. So I asked him, when was the last time contact was made? The pilot answered, a minute and 30 seconds ago when the pilot told us to ascend above the clouds. Our pilot circled around the area a few times, but the area with the cloud patch was also invisible to us, and it was too risky to enter. We failed several times to make any radio contact. We were forced to land after 30 seconds at the Sungan copper mine to investigate. During the flight, we had continuous phone calls with the passengers, including the bodyguard, Mr. Abdal-Hayan, the governor of East Azerbaijan, and the Friday Imam of Tabriz. However, we tried calling all of them without luck. After some tries, calling the cell phone of the captain accompanying the president, someone picked up the phone. It was Ayatollah Hashim, the Friday Imam of Tabriz. He told us that he was not feeling well. He didn't give us anything special. I asked him what exactly had happened. He told us that he didn't know what had happened. And when asked about his whereabouts, he said that he didn't know. He only described what he could see, described to us what he saw, for example, how he was surrounded by trees. I asked him about the condition of the others. The Ayatollah replied that he's alone and couldn't see anyone else, and he's alone. The copper mine had good facilities such as ambulances and the necessary vehicles. We formed a team to search for them. We also requested immediate emergency help. So what people are pointing out about this interview is sort of how odd it was, that the reports had been that there was a lot of fog, that it was just bad weather, that helicopters shouldn't fly in bad weather, that they often, there's a crash that could happen if they fly in bad weather. But now he's saying, no, there was no fog, there was just a cloud. And the pilot of the helicopter said, go above. And yet, even though they were going above, for whatever reason, that particular helicopter carrying the president and the foreign minister did not go above and instead crashed. Now, obviously the pilot that told the others to go above the clouds, so this is kind of, it's a different version of the story, first of all, than what people were thinking. They were thinking inclement weather, bad helicopter, flying in inclement weather, not a great idea. And so they're thinking that's what caused this crash. But now with knowing it was just a patch of clouds, I mean, these guys fly around clouds all the time. The fact that the pilot ahead, it wasn't like he didn't see the clouds and he didn't, he told the others, yeah, fly above these clouds. The question then is, why didn't he fly above the clouds? So there's a couple of possible responses. Of course, there's the idea that this was somehow plotted and planned and that they were trying to take out this president. But the pilot died too. So why would the pilot commit a suicide mission? Well, okay, there's a lot of reasons why a pilot might. There could be some incentives for his family. He might be a suicidal person. He might hate the president. I mean, who knows what all the reasons why people commit suicide missions. And we see that hijackers of planes often are doing it and wanting to take the entire plane with them. So there could have been something along those lines. But then the question is, how would he have known there would have been clouds? Or did he just take the first opportunity when there were just a patch of clouds and said, okay, this is it. I'm going to fly the chopper into these clouds and hit the cliff. And I mean, there's no way he could have known that the clouds were there or planned the clouds to be there. Of course, he can't manipulate the weather. But there's some questions there. The other possibility is he warned the others, but as Molly is saying, that the warning wasn't frantic. It didn't seem to be out of the ordinary. So it wasn't like he was saying, oh no, I flew into the clouds and now I'm going to hit a cliff. So you guys fly above, mayday, mayday. It wasn't the report by the chief of staff doesn't seem to be that way. But that would be one possibility, that he was warning the others and he just didn't make it up in time. And he hit the hill. So, there are though, but in this investigation, of course, whenever a president and a foreign minister and others have been taken out in this tragic way, not taken out, but, they died or they were taken out, right? You have to investigate this. And the attacks on Iran had been increasing. They had been more significant from the United States taking out Soleimani, from the Israelis attacking the embassy and going after others. There's been a lot of attacks. And there were also some reports that were floating around prior to this happening that Israel was planning on another attack on Iran, but this time bigger than taking out some leaders and an embassy. Well, this certainly was bigger than that. So that is leading to some suspicion with those reports that had been circulating around. Not sure how verified those reports were, but they certainly were circulating on social media prior to this event happening, that sources had said that Israel was looking to do another attack. Again, don't know how valid they are, but it is certainly suspicious when then there's this attack or this event that happens. So, we're going to continue following this story and continuing to follow, was it just inclement weather and it was just an accident? Accidents happen. Kobe Bryant also died in a helicopter crash. There was no conspiracy there. But also Kobe Bryant wasn't the leader, the president of a nation that is being pointed at as being the harbor of all terrorism in the Middle East, or the perpetrator, the supporter of all terrorism in the Middle East. Kobe Bryant certainly is not that guy. So there's more reason to be suspicious and more reason to look into this. But that is the latest interview that had come from the president's chief of staff. And it is a bit suspicious. It's a bit different than thinking, oh, it was just bad fog and this terrible weather and, it's just helicopter went down. All right, guys, we're going to move on with the show. We do have Rav Aurora, the interview that we actually ended up recording last night. We're going to air that for you now. So I'm going to say goodbye to you. We're just going to play this interview and we're going to be done for the night. We will be back tomorrow with another great show. We will not be here, however, on Monday. It is Memorial Day, so we're off. So I hope you guys have a really great long weekend. But we'll be back tomorrow night with another great show, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys so much for watching. Now we're going to talk to Rav Aurora. We're going to play this interview for you where he did just a bombshell report on a new safety signal that came out from the FDA's their own study. They put out their own study just not long ago, less than a month ago, showing that 2 to 5-year-olds have an increased incidence of seizures after the COVID-19 vaccine. You'll definitely want to hear what Rav has to say. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson show, which you could catch Just by heading to that link down below, KimIversonShow.com, you can watch the full show from what you just watched, or you can catch the full show live Monday through Friday, live streams, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. See you then. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Never miss an episode. Never miss a clip. Never miss a segment. Thanks, guys.